Alright, everybody. I think I'm live. I'm gonna start the stream a little bit early and let people file in. And while they're doing that, I'm just gonna play some guitar. This is my Cordoba C12, very beautiful guitar. It even, it smells so good. Hey, looks like we got somebody. Welcome, welcome. Just gonna wait for the stream to start. What's wrong, Chloe? What's wrong? Go lay down. It's okay. It's okay. Go lay down. Go, girl. I wonder if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. It's okay. Go to bed. It's okay. Cool. What about the guitar? Can you hear the guitar? Yeah, it does need a little bit of a tune, but because it's set to 432 hertz, it's I can't tune it by ear because of the hertz. So I wonder if I do have one of those tuners in here. Negative. So, yeah, it does need a little bit of a tune, but it's not too terrible. Oh, look. Magically, I got a tuner. Thank you. Okay, let's see if I can't tune this. The G is off. G is almost universally off. YouTube on video. I didn't actually click on the video, but I saw its title. Why is the G string always out of tune? I should have clicked on that video. Turn this fan off for now. I'm not soldering right now. If anybody hasn't tried 432 Hertz as a tuning, particularly for an acoustic guitar, I recommend it. It sounds weird at first because you're like, oh, that's not the right note, but I mean, it is. I just think it sounds really good with acoustics. Now that it's somewhat in tune. Let's see. Let's hear it. Hey, we got more people. Welcome. Just giving it a little bit of time before I actually start the stream. We got a little bit of time to kill. So just playing some guitar on my Cordoba C12. Super beautiful guitar. Smells fantastic. Oh, it's so good. should be just about time. Yep, just one more minute. Fantastic. Plug the old phone in. This can go away. That's loading up. Good. So today's music sampling is going to come from the awesome Nick Johnston, Canadian guitarist. Really, really good. One of my faves. So all the music you hear on this live stream belongs to him. He also works closely with Guthrie Govan. Yeah, great music. That's what I'm talking about. Hello, welcome. Welcome. Just about to get started right now. Let's heat up the soldering iron. Yeah. Okay, that's good. So how's everybody's night going so far? I think I could probably loosen this just a little bit. So tonight we are working on the Reza Rekt again, which is the it's the Mesa Boogie in a box. So this is going to be a real mean metal machine. Think like your Rammsteins and such, that kind of sound. Rammstein, which I have been to Rammstein before. Cool place. Been busy fixing lights, huh? Okay. So where I left off with this one, I put on a bunch of different capacitors that I'm going to start soldering on the backs so I can clip off all the legs and make a little bit more space so I can continue working with other things. So let's go ahead and start soldering on some of these capacitor legs. Come on. There we go. My soldering iron wasn't getting warm enough for a second there. Nor is it getting warm enough here. What's going on? It's probably because I have this fan so close to me. All right. So Nick Johnston is definitely, that's who we're listening to now in case you missed it. One of my favorite Canadian guitarists. I don't know of too many out there, but I know there are plenty of Canadian musicians in general. So if anybody's got a favorite Canadian musician, let me know. Like Bare Naked Ladies, I believe, are Canadian. If anybody likes the Bare Naked Ladies. If I had $1 million. Everyone remember that song? Yes, yes, yes. Solder's starting to flow pretty good now. Yeah. Neil Young's Canadian? Gordon Lightfoot's Canadian? I feel like I might have known this in the past. Both very, very good. I didn't know Neil Young was Canadian. Holy cow. And I know Gordon Lightfoot, he likes to do concerts out here a lot in this general area of the United States. Midwest and all that. Well, that's really cool. So the way I tend to operate with these is I usually do the left-hand side. Oh, you've seen him 3 times? Nice. Doesn't he look like the Crypt Keeper now? Poor guy. But I like to do the left-hand side of all the legs because the way I use the soldering station is right-handed, so the heat is coming in at this angle and then the solder comes in at this angle. So I do all of this side first. Then, when I clip all that side, I flip it around and do the same thing. Just now it's the opposite. Okay, that was strange. My headphones decided to say that it was connecting to my iPad again, which it should have been this whole time. I don't know what happened there. Sorry if there was any interruption in my microphone. Let's see. I'm almost done with this entire pedal, or at least populating the circuit board. I tend to leave the potentiometers for the end. But I think before I really continue on, I think there's one thing I am going to put on here. Just because the board tends to get so populated that things start bumping into each other. Let's see. Yeah, all these are good. I'm going to put a switch on here. An on-on switch. Which should switch between two different, essentially voicings, 2 different clippings with this pedal. One's going to be more like American metal and the other's going to be more like darker British metal kind of sound is what I'm going for. And that switch should switch between the 2. Just doing a little bit of solder cleanup. If I had $1 million, it's gonna be stuck in my head all night. I'd be rich. Okay, the rest of this is looking pretty good. All right. So before I get too carried away with things, I am going to put that switch the switch I am talking about is just one of these little guys. I know it's not going to focus very well, but just a little toggle switch. And the little lugs are kind of bent, so I'm going to have to straighten them out a little bit. A little bent is fine, because then that means when I actually slot it into the holes it needs to go to, the bent nature will hold it in there, which is a good thing. Okay, now I just need to make sure that it's perfectly upright. Okay, that looks okay. And the reason I want to get this done now is because the lugs are going to be on this side, the soldering is going to be done on this side, and so I'll actually have to put the soldering iron, which is super hot, on those lugs and then feed the solder on there. But if I populate it too much with all this junk right here, I run the risk of putting the soldering iron on there. And yeah, the soldering iron will ruin any pieces that it could burn out one of the components, and we don't want that. So, gotta be very careful. Heat it up nice and hot. Come on. There you go. Okay. This one's going to be a little difficult. Let's do it this way. I also have to worry about not burning the switch itself. Alright, here we go. Having to rework one of these switches is a pain in the butt. Taking it off and replacing it with another one. By the way, how's the music? Is it too much? Too loud? Not loud enough? Is it okay? Perfect. So now let's do the very last. You barely hear it. Let me know how this is, if it's too much or if it's okay. Perfecto? Okay. Thank you. So now I'm going to use these really, really fat capacitors, as you can see, compared to the other ones. But with this design, there should be enough room for them to live in harmony with whatever's around them. So there's one. C2. And then the very last capacitor for this particular board. Maybe I should have put this one over there. Be a little more considerate of its space. Okay. Yep, that works better. Okay, that works. Sweet, sweet. Oh, that was a lot of solder. Okay, there we go. Again. Okay. This is one of Nick Johnston's earlier songs. I can't remember if it was from the album, I don't think it was Public Display of Infection. No, I don't think it was that album. Okay, there we go. Now let's flip this thing to the other side. Rock on. And like I said, this should be the last of the capacitors on this circuit. It still needs the diodes. Okay, there we go. That was a little better. Clip, clip. Yeah. Okay. So the 5817 diode. Basically going to keep the directional integrity of the signal. Oh, excuse you? That's interesting. There's solder in the joint and back already. Let's clean that up. Oh, no, there isn't. Huh. No, that's a different joint entirely. Maybe I shouldn't have put that switch in, because now the switch is in the way. There we go. Just kind of shove it to the side. I'll show you in just a second what just happened. Come on, needle noses. Save me. Okay, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but you see how that leg is basically rubbing right up on the switch. So yeah, the hole was kind of covered up by the switch. Maybe I should have put that in first. Oh well, We all learn. And remember how I said it was a huge pain in the butt to remove one of those switches? Yeah, I'm not removing it. I'm just going to deal with it. Okay, there's one side. Oh, there we go. Now let's see what I can do with this. I'm a dummy, but we'll figure it out. Oh yeah, this is gonna work just fine. Yeah, that's just fine. Perfect. Now let's do the clipping diodes. The 4148s. And this one's got a whole slew of them. Oosh. My components are all trying to get into different compartments. Okay. Oh, so this weekend has been a little bit gloomy and slow. It looks like all the bad weather is starting to come in here in Wyoming. I'm definitely not looking forward to the snow that's supposed to get here on Tuesday and Wednesday. Because we all know it'll just need to snow once out here. And then that snow is going to be on the ground for the next 8 months. Because it just never goes away. It is consistently freezing out here. A veritable winter wonder hell, if you will. Just 3 more clipping diodes. And then I can move on to the electrolytic capacitors. What a miserable prediction, yes. Snow, snow, and it'll stay on the ground. Hopefully it just goes away. And then, I mean, everyone keeps saying we need a lot of moisture out here, which is generally true. You know, dangers of fires and whatnot. But that moisture will forever be on the ground, is the problem. It's okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and get these clipping diodes taken care of. Then the electrolytic capacitors, and that might be it for this one. Now let's clean this tip just a little bit. Getting a little crusty. We don't want crusty tips. Don't read into that. Don't be gross. Let's stay PG, 13 at least. This is a family show, damn it. Okay. Flipping these off, then I'll flip it to the other side. Finish these off, and then we'll be off to the races. In fact, when I start getting more people into the stream, I'll actually complete one of these with potentiometers and everything, wires, all that stuff, and then I'll hook it up to the test platform, and then we can all hear what this bad boy will sound like. Now, of course, it'll probably be extremely noisy because of all the lights and everything that I have in here, and it won't be in an enclosure, but c'est la vie. I wish this would not go into sleep. I'll have to change the screen settings. Okay. I got a laptop running behind me with the stream on so that I can see if I'm still recording. Okay, let's see. Double check everything. So far, so good. Yeah, so far so good. So let's get the electrolytics in here. 1 micro. Yep, there's one up here hiding. Yeah, it'd be cool to hear. Hey, we got somebody else. Welcome. Just about to finish up this one Reza Rekt. My heavy, hard-hitting metal machine. My god, this has like all the 1 microfarads that I could possibly ever need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 per circuit. Whew. Electrolytic capacitors are these capacitors right here, the little round can ones. On one of the legs there's a white stripe to show you which is the negative side, and then the other side's the positive. Also, the positive has the longer leg, and they literally have electrolytes in it as part of its charging process. Because what a capacitor does is, think of it like a little battery, if you will, because we are talking about guitar signals which are in the milliamps, you know, real small, real tiny. So any interrupt, or yeah, we'll just call it interrupt, whether it's cut off completely or cut off partially from the signal, it'll make a big, yeah, electrolytes like Gatorade. It's what plants crave. Now that was from the movie. But yeah, just in case there are any interrupts in the signal, these capacitors and everything can be used as to like smooth out the signal. If there are any gaps, it'll use some of its energy to fill in the hole, the gap, and make it just a smoother sound. So now I need the 10 microfarad. A little bit bigger. And then the short but fatter 100 microfarads. There we go. Mini batteries. Yeah, that's pretty apt. Actually, I'm not going to put this one in just yet. There are plenty of little legs poking out the back, so I'm going to take care of these. I don't know if you've ever turned off like an electronic device and noticed that, or like have something become unplugged, but then it still has power for a couple seconds and then it fades out and then dies. It's because capacitors. So instead of, you know, the power being cut entirely, it was using all the energy being drained off by the capacitors. Okay. That one looks okay. That one came out okay. Alright, that one came out okay. I have to be real careful with these electrolytic capacitors when soldering them because the leg joints are so close together that it's real easy to bridge the gap with solder. And if we do that, it doesn't work properly. Doesn't do what it's intended to do. So basically, if you were to think of this like in terms of the matrix, the capacitors are the human beings being used as batteries. Boy, The Matrix is one of those movies where I would agree that yes, it's good. Definitely started that whole like super serious gothic sunglass wearing kind of thing, like Underworld, the movie, as well as kind of this aesthetic. But growing up, when friends would come over, uncles would come over, cousins, whatever, doesn't matter, it's like, oh, what do you want to do? Oh, I don't know, let's watch a movie. Okay, what movie? Oh, you have The Matrix, let's watch The Matrix. Okay. Then the next person comes over. Hey, what do you want to do? Oh, I don't know, let's watch a movie. Okay, what movie? Oh, you have The Matrix, let's watch The Matrix. Okay. So I think within the span of like 2 or 3 months, I had seen The Matrix 9 times. And most of the time, I felt like I was a hostage. Because it's like, you want to entertain your guest, or you want to do what they suggest, you know? And sometimes it wasn't, you know, my choosing, because I was pretty young at the time. Ooh, speaking of bridging a gap. It was like, oh, my uncle came over, and my parents wanted to see The Matrix with them or whatever, and then it was just like, well, I have to be in the same space as this movie because I live here. So I cannot escape the loud surround sound. So I'm effectively watching The Matrix for the umpteenth time. Fine movie. Neat concept. Just watched it one too many times. Anybody out there have one of those movies where it's like, you know it should be good, but you're kind of like sick of it. You kind of want to tell people that, like, no, this isn't a movie worth watching. I kind of feel that way about Inception also, although I had only seen that movie once. But, and it wasn't terribly confusing, and I had even seen it in segments. Like, I watched, 40 minutes, then 30 minutes, then 40 minutes, all within the same day, just over several hours, because I had to pause and do things. I understood it. I knew what was going on. But by the end of the movie, I was like, wait, when does it get exciting? When does it blow my mind like it blew everyone else's? I don't know. I was waiting for that moment. I think it was the hype. Everyone overhyped it, and they're, oh, it's the greatest movie of all time. Really? Clean up some of these solder joints. Just make it look a little prettier. Nope. Let's not gap that. So a movie came across my Netflix, and it's Battlefield Earth. No. Was it Battlefield Earth? What was it called? The one about the Scientologist propaganda nonsense where there's an alien race that took over the world called the Cyclos. That. Like, I don't dare watch it because I know how bad it is. The one with Mr. Travolta. Sweet. Okay, so I still got the 100 micro. Okay. This should literally be the last of the capacitors. Okay. Come on. There we go. I take it you've seen that movie? Alright. Scientology is just so bizarre. And with this one, I don't really care if I'm hurting someone's feelings, because it actively hurts people. So if you're a Scientologist out there watching, you're doing evil. I'll just straight up say it. Okay, so this should effectively be done. But, you know what, let's get some, let's put on the potentiometers. That way I'll have one ready for when more people show up. So we need a 1, 2, 3 of those. Okay. 3. And I need a reverse audio taper. There you go. So before I put these on, before I make the mistake of putting them on, I need, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. To check them with multimeters. You should always check all of your components. When Morpheus arrives. Thought you didn't like the Matrix. Well, I don't hate the Matrix. I've just seen it 8 billion times, so I'm kind of over it. I think that's more appropriate way of looking at it. So this should be 100K. Yes, perfect. So that one's okay. This should also be 100. Reverse taper, but that doesn't matter. Yes, it's actually 100 on the dot. Or more people arrive. You mean in the stream? Yes. Yeah, I'm going to, when more people arrive, I'm going to test out the pedal in the stream. So that way I could show it off to a, hopefully a larger audience, but never know. Heard a noise. What was that? Interesting. Super Moab Man, welcome. You hope they turn out well? Me too. Welcome, welcome. I am trying to... Yeah. Okay. So with this one pedal that I just completed, I'm going to try and put some potentiometers on it. That way I can get it ready for testing. Because I have this handy-dandy test platform right here. It's got a toggle switch down here to essentially... My little baby is here. Hi, Alexis. And then, yeah, oh, hold on, I gotta solder something real quick now that I see it. Let me just solder something real quick. Alright. Yeah, this test platform is pretty great because it should, it'll help me essentially test the actual pedal, the circuit board, before I have to mount it inside of a... Hey, we got a lot of viewers. Welcome, welcome. It'll help me plug this thing in via these screw terminals right here. Once I put the wires on the actual pedal board itself, I can screw the wires into their appropriate spots, give it a 9-volt power source, and I could try it out. But of course, doing it like that, it's exposed. Everything's all exposed to the lights and radio frequencies and stuff like that. So it'll be way noisier than if it was in an enclosure. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Super Moab, man. It's always cool to see new people. Alright. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and plug these bad boys in. So this is a 100. Cool. What I like doing, since there are 3 terminals on here, 3 lugs, I spread them out a little bit so it's kind of like a W, a very small W. I don't know how well you can see it. But if I spread them out like that, when I plug them into the holes, hopefully it stays in place. So I have to solder all 3 of those lugs in there from this side. The holes are on this side now. And once I solder one of them, then I actually have a little bit of wiggle room to move it around and manipulate it to get it exactly where I need it. Because all of these right here are going to have to pop up exactly inside the holes that I drill. So I need to make sure everything is kind of lined up properly. If not, then I start running into issues. So roughly, I'd actually probably go down just a little. Well, howdy, Nathan. How are you doing today? I know you said you were going to work on some pedals yourself. And anybody who's unfamiliar with NSPFX makes amazing pedals. Nathan does it all by hand, all at home. Just a superstar in my eyes. It's helped me out quite a bit. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to use one of my little helping hands here to prop this up just slightly so that I can get the right angle that I need. Solder in one of these lugs. Get some heat on there. Alright. So now that I have just one of the lugs soldered in there, the other 2 are not filled yet. Now I've got a little bit of wiggle room to manipulate this thing and make sure that it's perfectly straight with all the angles. There's nothing more frustrating than soldering all of it in and then you can't manipulate it at all and notice that it's crooked. Off-board wiring on a conciliary this evening. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I got it set. Well, hold on a tick. Just a little crooked. For those of you just joining us, the music for today, by the way, is brought to you by Nick Johnston. Really good guitarist from Canada. This is one of his earlier songs, but all the music belongs to him. I don't own any of it. I don't want to get kicked off for copyright, so I do some amazing things myself, huh? Well, thank you. It's real hard to stand out in a business like this. And I've said it before with stuff like I don't really reinvent the wheel or anything. We just kind of add our own twists to it, our own spin on it. And that's perfectly fine. Is that how I want it sitting? Yeah, I think that's good. So where's the 100? There you are. Okay. So how's everybody's evening going? Anybody drinking anything interesting? My drink of choice is this Monster Hydration, or Hydro. What flavor is it? Blue Streak? Whatever that is. So I guess it's Sonic flavor, huh? Sonic the Hedgehog. I can taste those hedgehog quills. Okay. That's about right. So once again, I'm going to use my little helping hands here to prop it up just a tad. Ginger ale is good. I think last time I streamed, Nathan was drinking a diet ginger ale. Because I was talking about how deceptively sugary those are. Like they got a lot of sugar, but I guess the diet ones don't. Hopefully they don't. Modelo. Yeah. I was thinking about, getting a frosty adult beverage to drink today, but I just wasn't feeling it. Plus, they're kind of giving me heartburn lately. Definitely diet. Miller Lite today, okay. Because it's in the house. So, I was at the gas station today, and they sell booze, which is kind of a rare thing in Wyoming, if I'm honest. But they've only started doing that recently. But I saw Miller High Life sitting in there, and people, well, the slogan or whatever is like, it's the champagne of beers. Has anyone ever had Miller High Life? Is it any good? Modelo Negra sounds good. Yeah. I'm not too much of a Modelo fan, but I like Modelo a lot more than I do Corona. I'm really not a Corona fan. But yeah, if anyone's ever had that Miller High Life, let me know, because I'm curious, like what. And the kicker is that it was like still cheaper than a lot of the other beers that were there. Like I think Shock Top was more expensive yet. So I don't know how it's the champagne of beers. Not a fan of the Negra Modelos. I've had both types once, or maybe a couple times, I don't know. But I don't remember which I like better, the black one or not, or the, I don't know, blonde, I guess, the white one. That's pretty straight. How about my baby girl, Alexis? What are you drinking tonight? Modelo? I hope not. You prefer the Especial one? I really don't know the difference between any of them. Is that the white one that that I was talking about? The Especial? Okay. This one's gonna need a little bit of finesse here. I need my helping hand. Prop it up kind of in place. Solder the one lug, that way I can still manipulate it later if I need to. Okay. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. I need to manipulate it just a tad to get all basically everything lined up perfectly, because when I drill the holes, it's kind of a one-shot thing. The Especial is the lager. My daughter's yelling at me saying, "I'm not drinking beer, Well, that's good. Imagine the sass when I read that. Yes, my daughter is all sass. I'm not drinking beer, Dad. That's the way I imagine she said it. Am I right? My daughter's 6. She's first grade. And right now, she's spending quality time with her mommy. Ooh, there was a lot of solder I just dumped on there. Whoopsie. Come on. Okay. Let's kind of clean up that solder just a little bit. Alright. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Don't want to mess with it too much, because the more you heat up things, the more likely you are to mess something up. Even just the solder, you heat it up one too many times, and then it gets that layer of oxidation on it. Yes, she gets that sass from her mama. Your words, not mine. But that layer of oxidation, if it gets on there, then it'll, you literally won't be able to heat up the solder, because you can't melt the oxidation that way. You gotta... Then you'll have to start using flux if you need to manipulate it some more. So I got one last potentiometer to put on here. Nope, I need to bend the legs out just a little bit more so that it stays in place. Okay. That's pretty good. So let's go ahead and solder our one little terminal lug thing. That way we can manipulate it if we need to. Yeah. Oops, I forgot to use my helping hand, So now you can see that this is pointed up because gravity was pulling it that way. This is why I only solder one of the legs so that I can manipulate it down into place. Now I gotta make sure everything else will line up. It's tilt, it's just everything. Hole, 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 hole. Here, here, here. It's actually pretty good right there. Okay. Now I gotta be nice and careful so that I don't kick it somewhere else. I'm excited. I'm almost completely done with this one. Okay. It moved. I don't know. Oh, no, it's good. Oh, yeah, we're good. All right. So, we've got all the potentiometers on there now. The switch in the middle, this switch right here. Hopefully everything is pretty darn close to lined up. Because there is just a little bit of wiggle room after you drill the holes in the enclosure and then try to stick this through. There is a little bit of wiggle room, but not a lot, so you want to try and get it as close as you can to perfect. Let's go ahead and put some wires in here. Let me see if I can do it this way without issue. I'll do it the other way. You like the tunes? Yeah. Nick Johnston, I really dig him. His newest album that he did with, I think it was Guthrie Govan, or however his name is pronounced, he starts singing in that one, and he's an incredible guitarist. He's a left-handed one that plays right-handed, so the part, the you know, all the shapes and things that he needs to form for the neck, he should be really good at because he's left-handed. It's just the strumming that he's a little weak at because he's not right-handed. So he plays guitar very well. And, but when it comes to singing, I listened to his newest album and it's okay. It's like, I don't know, it's like a C-, I guess. But because his lyrics are he focuses so much on singing, which he's never really done before. So his playing is very basic, so that he could focus on his singing, and it's like baby's first lyrics, kind of. It's not very deep, or I don't know. It wasn't very impressive, especially compared to what he can play. So love the guy. Not a fan of his singing, but we only get better. I can't sing at all, so I mean, I shouldn't even open my mouth. Just ask anybody who's heard me sing. It's pretty bad. And then when I'm playing guitar, the second I open my mouth, like, all ability to play, sing, everything just goes out the window. I can't chew bubble gum and walk at the same time. It's impossible. My brain just seizes. So I've got 22 gauge wire, solid pre-tin core. I like the solid core. Super hard to see, but it's not stranded. You know, it doesn't have all the little copper strands. I like using this a lot better. It goes through the holes perfectly. It does what I need it to do. Just recently got a 100-foot spool of it, the black one in particular, because I tend to use the black wire the most. Uh-oh. It's buffering a lot. I wonder if my internet's slowing down. Let me know if I'm having internet issues, everyone, or if it's just some people. The weather's been pretty bad out a lot lately, so it could be that the internet's being affected, and if it is, I apologize. I can't control the weather. And then living in the remote location that I live in, I have literally the fastest internet that is available to me. So there's not much I could do. But please let me know if it gets bad for everyone, and then I might have to restart the stream. So let's get some of these wires hooked up. Come on. Okay, there we go. Okay. Let's pre-tin the soldering iron. Did that work? Okay, there we go. These helping hands are perfect for stuff like this, holding a wire in place where it needs to go. And with this particular thing that I bought, these helping hands are actually magnetic, so I can, oh, hey, hello. I could actually pick up the base. It's kind of tape sliding off, but I could pick up the base and move it wherever I want. It's very convenient. I like it. Okay, let's get one more black wire. Here's a tip for anybody who's never soldered before, but might do a project sometime in the future. Aside from labeling absolutely everything, you should have color codes for your various wires. For example, I use black as ground. I use red as power source. Input is green. Output is purple for me. And then if I have to use anything else, then I have yellow and white available to me as just various component kind of uses. Okay, I gotta be careful with soldering this one because it's real close to a capacitor. Don't want to burn anything else. Who's excited for Halloween? I love Halloween. Don't know how excited I am about it though because of COVID and whatnot. It's a little scary out there right now. But generally I've loved this time of year, not just because of pumpkin spice and all that, which is kind of a bit of a bonus. I don't hate on pumpkin spice, but I just like the weather change. I like the turning of the trees and the leaves and plants and everything, the different colors. It's when things start getting cold, and so people start snuggling up and getting warmer and whatnot. A lot of good fashion for fall too. Yeah, Halloween's a fun time. Or fall in general, I should say. Okay, so for this one, do I want it up or down? This way's fine. Oops, I forgot. Had these all tightened down. No wonder it's so difficult to get on here. Oh, come on. Yeah. I'll switch ground in. Out. Switch. Oh, here's my black. Ground and input. Got my different color codes set up. Gonna line them up in the order that I need. Double check it, out switch, grounded in, out switch. Okay. Perfect. Okay. You know, in the hometown that I grew up in, Temecula, California, there was, and this was like, oh God. Let's just say the mid 2000s. There was about conservatively about 20 Starbuckses in my hometown. Like, you can literally step out of a Starbucks, look down the street, and see another one. But out here, where I live in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, it's a different story. So anymore, I don't often get to try like pumpkin spice stuff, which, you know, that feels loose. Yep, just came off. Which isn't a tragedy or anything. I'm not, you know, chomping at the bit. I gotta fix this. Did not get a good solder joint going. This right here, I don't know how well you can see it. This is basically a copper braided solder wick, is what they call it. You can kind of pull the strands apart a little bit. It's not going to focus very well for you, but this stuff is really good for getting excess solder. Like I have solder in this hole now that I need to get out. So I'm going to lay the copper wick on top of that hole and apply pressure and heat with the soldering iron, and hopefully with just that it should warm up enough to where the solder just flows right into the braided copper. Perfect. So now this hole over here is solder free, and I could try this again. Ooh, now I put way too much. Okay. There we go. Now it's on there just right. So let me strip the rest of these colored wires that I got here. throw those on, and then we could actually try the pedal. And far be it from me to be prepared with anything, because I don't remember which of the potentiometers does what at the moment off the top of my head, because it's been a while from design to product, you know. And since I don't want to spend the time searching through my files, we're going to figure it out ourselves. Okay, I will need an amplifier down here. I do have my guitar, but I'll need an amplifier, power source for the prototype pedal, and some cables, so I will have to go up. Okay. That one's good. Now for the ground wire. The solder wick trick. Yeah, it's a very useful tool. I prefer using the solder wick to the solder sucker, just because there's this. I think I got it here somewhere. There's a solder sucker that's not within my immediate grasp, at least that I can tell. It's basically, it kind of looks like a weird baster plunger sucker thing. So you push this plunger down, and you heat up the solder that you're trying to remove. You stick the nose of it right where the solder is. Once it gets nice and wet and melted, you hit this button after pushing the plunger in, and it goes, and it tries to use the little vacuum that it creates by the plunger, shooting back to suck out the solder. And it generally works very well the first couple times you use it, but then the inside of it gets all full of solder. It gets gummed up, and then you have to start playing with it. You have to, I use these little tweezers to physically get the solder out of there. Well, hello. Oh! Somebody is bringing me an amplifier, cables, and a 9-volt power supply. Look at that. Perfect. Just in time. Thanks, Dad. Okay. So, this sucker is ready. So for those of you who are joining us late and you're not sure what this is, I'm calling it the Reza Rekt, R-E-K-T. Rez is the name of the company, my last name. And it's a portmanteau of, resurrecting someone, But it's supposed to be the circuitry of a Mesa Boogie Dual Rectifier amp. And if you don't know what that is, think of like a lot of metal bands like Rammstein and Disturbed and things like that. So it should be that kind of sound. So let me go ahead and screw this bad boy in. I know I have... Ah, there it is. Little jeweler screw. So let me screw this in. And then once I get all of these wires screwed in, I'll show you what it looks like. Because this test platform it's pretty awesome. Okay. These screw terminals, you put the exposed wire. Okay, let's see if we can get this here. So, there we go. You put the exposed wire into a little hole underneath the screw terminal, then you crank it down and it clamps on there. So it's essentially making a connection without soldering it shut, so that I could take things out, put new things in. So I'm just going to screw in the rest of these. Okay. Nope, you need to go a little further in. Alright. So just by tugging on the wires, I can kind of feel that they are basically in there just right. So I'm going to start out by having all the knobs counterclockwise or off, if you will, because I don't want this thing to have an explosion of sound. Okay, sorry Nick Johnston, but I'm going to turn you off for a second. And then I'm going to set up this amp real quick.